Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
Seriously, this giant windmill blade is one of the most extraordinary things you'll ever see.
Good
Stretched
God.
across I-70 there. Amazing. We'll continue to update you on that traffic nightmare there, of course, with Jamie Whitten every 10 minutes, first on the fives. It's 8:07 here on O'Connor and Company. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in 30 minutes, we have a Republican nominee for the special election in Virginia 11. His name is Stewart Whitson, and he'll join us at that time. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Don't you wish you had a special election in your congressional district, Julie?
Oh, God, do I?
You're right next door.
Ever.
You could move. You know.
Yeah, I know.
If Stewart Whitson wins.
It's coming.
Think of the people who will be moving into Fairfax County if Stewart Whitson wins that race. It's a huge boon for the economy. Let's bring in Alex Swoyer now. She is an attorney. She's also the legal affairs reporter at the Washington Times. Her new book, Lawless Lawfare, Tipping the Scales of Justice to Get Trump and Destroy MAGA. Alex, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So the Babylon Bee's headline here shows Donald Trump as Emperor Palpatine in the Star Wars saga, saying the headline is, Trump shoots lightning from his fingertips while screaming unlimited power after latest SCOTUS ruling. Is that the case here? I mentioned this to Joe DeGeneva in the last hour. It's great that we stop these nationwide injunctions, but is this a concern for when, President Ocasio-Cortez takes the reins at the White House?
Oh, yes. Very good point. So I wouldn't say it's unlimited power. I would say that the Supreme Court gave a basically roadmap for these types of challenges that I think will be more workable, and that could be the form of class actions. So, prior to the Supreme Court ruling, what we saw, and to your point, this was something that Republicans did during the Obama administration too, like to stop, the Dreamers and all of. It was an increase in nationwide injunctions. Obviously, they skyrocketed under President Trump, but this was something that has been used by both parties. So what would happen is, they would look for favorable forums, which is a key issue I talk about in my book, Lawless Lawfare. But they would go, the left would go out to California, New York, Washington, and file all these lawsuits that would be going on simultaneously. And so all they had to do really was get one of those judges to issue a nationwide injunction. Now, since the Supreme Court ruling, what they have to do is really have one class action. So it's not going to have all these different chances of getting a nationwide injunction. It's going to be one. It's going to be more streamlined. There's going to be one litigation. And if the government wins, everyone's bound by that.
Go ahead, Larry. Sorry. It is really astonishing when you look at the breakdown of where these injunctions were coming from. Someone did a breakdown, and it was all within areas, deep blue areas, where they have these very liberal judges. So you had the situation where these very liberal judges were setting basically really policy for the rest of the country. What my question is do Democrats understand how dangerous this was for when they have a Democrat? I mean, I think they do understand that. They just didn't care. Isn't that correct? Anything to stop Trump.
So, but I don't know in politics if anyone ever thinks about the future, right? Like the ramifications if the shoe were on the other foot.
Yeah.
I think that they're not afraid to set dangerous precedent. I mean, that is the key to why I wrote the book too, was because the idea of gagging a presidential candidate, convicting one, like all of that. It's scary that it could be done to the next party. And so, I don't think they thought about, what's going to happen when, I don't know if everybody, I don't want to scare people, but President Ocasio-Cortez, like Larry said,
right.
I don't think they thought about that far ahead. But, this has been something we always see conservatives go to, like the Fifth Circuit, Texas judges, Alabama, Louisiana. So it is something that in reality could be used if it wasn't stopped, against the Democrats when they take the White House.
We're joined by Alex Swoyer, I should say. Her book is Lawless Lawfare, Tipping the Scales of Justice to Get Trump and Destroy MAGA. We always hear about the collegiality there in the Supreme Court, that, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was really great friends with Antonin Scalia, and they socialized when they weren't working on cases, even though they disagreed on things. And I love that. I love the idea that these guys are super smart, they make very big decisions, but they also get along and they respect each other. I don't think there's any kind of respect for Ketanji Brown Jackson. If you read this decision that was written by Amy Coney Barrett, and let's be clear, the other 5 conservative justices all joined and put their name on it as well. This is an absolute, it's insulting, frankly, the way they went after her. And I supported it because she does seem to be completely a sort of an embarrassment to the court. But what do you make of this going forward, how they're going to be able to get along? It's got to be devastating for her.
Yeah, so the back and forth from the majority opinion to the dissent was just something. I've covered the court for almost 10 years, and I have not seen something like this so public, right? Wow. To your point, I actually heard, just a conversation with someone said that Justice Jackson had a reputation on the lower courts for being difficult to work with. I don't know if that's, it looks like that might be the case now.
Well, she's only been on the court for, 2 years now? I think 2 sessions. And she speaks more than any of the other justices during the hearings.
She's very long-winded. Her questions are more statements, and then more or less, do you agree with me or not, is at the end of them. But what I will say is when I was reading through the opinion, I just could not, I was really surprised with Barrett, and I think that this is kind of what some conservatives were waiting to see from her, the more direct tone. I think possibly one of the reasons we saw Justice Barrett take the tone she did and shoot back at Justice Jackson and all the other conservative or the GOP appointees sign on is because, Justice Jackson's dissent was basically, your constitutional rights are at stake if you aren't part of this lawsuit. And then also, the rule of law is under attack, which is kind of like this saying we keep hearing from the left. And then
it read like the transcript of a Joy Reid monologue. Seriously, was the vitriol and hysteria.
Mm-hmm. Well, also some weird things like "wait for it" and "full stop."
Right. These little colloquialisms.
Yes. Yeah. And so because of that rhetoric, and Justice Sotomayor's was a bit different, but she did say something along the lines of warned about right now it's birthright citizenship. What right is next? I think maybe the majority of the court was tired of this kind of hyperbolic rhetoric, right? And maybe that's what motivated the response that we've seen.
Well, it was an amazing thing to behold, and it's going to be one for the history books, and very interesting to see as everyone cools off for the summer. Maybe Ketanji Brown Jackson will do another cameo on Broadway. Remember, she appeared on a Broadway musical last year.
Yes, that's right. Maybe it'll give her more lines now that we know she likes to talk so much.
That's right. She did. The thing about that, that's the other thing. She's the rookie. She's the newbie on the court. She goes and does a Broadway musical, and she got a book deal for $2 million, and she's done nothing. $2 million.
Yeah, and I can tell you, as a new author, it is not easy to sell books. So
when you get a $2 million advance, you don't have to sell books.
Right.
Well, meanwhile, Alex Swoyer did not get that kind of advance, so buy her book. It's called Lawless Lawfare, Tipping the Scales of Justice to Get Trump and Destroy MAGA. Alex, always good to talk to you, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Coming up, we are 1 minute away from giving you the latest on the communist candidate for mayor in New York City.
Did you just
You're
say
going to
that?
want to hear the latest from him. Keep it here. It's 8:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
We're going to be talking about this New York mayor's race all year long until Election Day in November. Zohran Mamdani is a communist, and he makes no bones about it. Everybody, he's not a communist. He's not a No. Literally, there's a video of him from a couple of years ago saying, quoting now, the end goal is seizing the means of production. That's not... I'm from Norway. It's just Democrat socialism. I just want to help people out and give people 4 weeks vacation. No, that's communism. Seizing the means of production. That's the plan. He's also an Islamist. He's also an apologist for Hamas.
He's also a fraud. He's a fraud.
Absolutely. And by the way, he had a position paper out saying that he wanted to tax the white neighborhoods higher in New York City, which seems kind of racist. when asked on Meet the Press if that's what he really meant. I love that by the grace extended to these people.
Oh my gosh.
It's so hilarious.
Excuse me. Do you mind answering this?
Just clarify that.
I'm going to give you an option to clarify.
Yes.
Yeah.
So given the option to clarify, here's what MAMDANI said.
To shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable.
Okay, first of all, nobody said it was driven by race. You're not taxing people because of the color of your skin. What you're doing is describing a neighborhood as a white neighborhood. Know how the left always talks about dog whistles? That's a dog whistle. That is a dog whistle to tell these radical race-baiting Democrats, let's call them what they are, that he's going to punish Whitey. That's the plan. And to describe a neighborhood that way, which, although, by the way, last time I was in New York, I don't think there are any white neighborhoods left.
Yeah, what's he talking about?
I'm not. Well, maybe he means Florida. But that's despicable. Would never be acceptable language on the right, but it's celebrated when it's a socialist.
And just very quickly, when I say he's a fraud, he is such a fraud. There was a video of him eating a biryani with his hands today. Rice dish with his hands, and he's talking about how, when you grew up in a third world country, you look at things differently. Okay, his mother is a prominent Bollywood actress. His dad is faculty at Columbia. Okay, this is not some guy who grew up poor.
Yeah,
he
was not.
Listen,
he may have been in a third world country, but he lived very first world.
This is all cosplay. He's just trying. It's like AOC saying she's from Brooklyn. Give me a break.
Bronx.
Bronx,
cut 18 here. This is MAMDANI. He's really running against Trump, don't you know?
Increase and enhance the number of ICE agents here. If that happens on your watch, how do you plan to handle it?
We have to stand up and fight back. We saw ICE agents arrest a migrant at Federal Plaza, and then we saw NYPD officers arresting a pastor who was peacefully observing that arrest. Those days are going to come to an end when I'm the mayor.
Now, there's one thing about living in a communist nation, and that is there are certain people in the media who end up being on the right side of the power structure and the dictators, and they continue to keep their jobs and they continue to be in good favor. So we are seeing members of the media now in New York, like Kristen Welker, like Jake Tapper, like George Stephanopoulos, various others, who are already playing their cards right. They want to make sure that a communist is going to take over, but let's make sure we're on the right side of the communists, right? So we can maintain our roles and our positions. Curtis Sliwa. Oh, by the way, the New York Post, picking up on this whiter neighborhoods thing, their headline on Saturday: "The price is white."
Perfect. Who's better, the New York Post or the Babylon Bee in terms of headlines? I don't know.
It's a toss-up. It is.
Maybe someone works moonlights.
Curtis Sliwa, still the Republican nominee, is doing a lot of media and trying to push back. Like I said, he has a lane here, theoretically, potentially. But some are saying that, the best way for MAMDANI to be defeated is for Eric Adams to sort of do a coalition government with Sliwa. I don't know.
Eric Adams, I saw a tweet this weekend on X about his efforts to get rid of rats in New York City. That's what people care about. Yeah. Get rid of the rats, control the crime, make sure that there aren't free grocery stores all over the city.
And I do love, everyone said, the Democrats who are praising MAMDANI right now, like Bernie Sanders and Chris Murray, they're saying well, he ran a race about making things affordable. No, he ran a race about taking over the means of production and making governments in charge of grocery stores.
Free buses, free daycare, free groceries, free everything.
David Marcus has a great column in Fox today, Fox Digital, where he writes about these free buses. Just imagine what free buses, they will be rolling homeless shelters. That's what free buses means. Who will step foot on a bus in New York City if it is free? It will be full of nothing but a criminal element. That's the reality of the situation. Everybody knows it with a brain in their head, and that's why Democrats nominated this guy, because they don't. It's 8:23.
I'm going to try really hard to contain my excitement for this next segment. We're going to talk to Stewart Whitson. He won the GOP primary this weekend in Fairfax, and so he is the Republican nominee running in Virginia 11th special election. We'll discuss it with him. Keep it here. It's 8:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:37. It's O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning in here on a busy Monday morning. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. And Julie, meet your new nominee for the 11th District Congressional seat in Virginia, Republican. Is very exciting, actually. Stewart Whitson, who was with us on Friday, sort of giving us the bio and asking for votes. And apparently it worked, Stewart. You're the nominee. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks so much, Larry. Good morning. Great to be on with you and Julie.
Listen, as I said, we just had you on Friday. You sort of explained to our audience who you were, and if anybody missed that, they can certainly go to your website to get the details. I'd rather you spend this time now focused on your opponent. The Democrat winner is who we expected. Fairfax County Supervisor James Walkinshaw has not seen a tax increase he didn't like. He was Jerry Connolly's handpicked successor, and it sounds like he's running against Donald Trump. It sounds like his entire, I'll quote him here. We're at a 5-alarm fire moment in our country and our democracy right now. The Trump administration and Trump are violating the Constitution every day. He's going to be a thorn in the side of Trump, and he's going to use his seat to fight this anti-Trump derangement syndrome battle. I don't know. That doesn't seem like it's going to make things cheaper, more affordable, or make life better in Fairfax County, Mr. Whitson.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, Larry. And so basically what he's doing is running against President Trump. He's not running for the people in our district, for the things that matter. And so the great thing about that for us is he's going to give voters a really clear alternative between what we're running for and what he's running for. And at the end of the day, they're going to like what we're running for. And so this is the key. The people in our district are ready for change. They're ready for lower taxes. They're ready for affordable groceries. And they're ready for safer communities. But they are tired of wasteful spending. They're tired of destructive DEI policies being pushed on our kids behind closed doors. And they are tired of having the safety of our families placed in jeopardy as a result of reckless policies from people like my opponent. Mm-hmm. And guess what? They're also tired of career politicians like him who think that they're entitled to represent the people in our district, not because they're qualified, but because they're connected. It's time for change in Northern Virginia, and I'm running in this race to be that change.
Mr. Whitson, I'd love to get your opinion on the Supreme Court ruling that came out that really, I can't believe it took the Supreme Court to tell people, hey, you should give parents the right to opt out of some of this extreme curriculum that you're teaching kids. But I'd love to get your thoughts on that and sort of the return of parents' rights, the sort of elevation of parents in this country.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So it really, at the end of the day, it shouldn't be the government dictating how kids are raised and how kids are educated. That choice really does belong to parents. And so we've already seen President Trump move in that direction with dismantling the Department of Education. And so I think that's a great first step. But I think the next step, if we're serious about school choice, and which I think that the president very much is, it's taking that money that would have otherwise gone from the Department of Education to the states. Let's give that money to the parents. Let's let the parents use that money where they think it makes sense. If it's homeschooling, if it's private schools, if it's charter schools, or if they love the public school they're in, let them then give the money to that public school and have it used there. But that's the key. At the end of the day, parents have to be able to make that choice, not the government.
I'm so glad you returned that back to school choice. You're absolutely right that it all goes back to that. I'm sorry, Larry. I know you had a
No,
question.
Don't be at all. We're speaking with U.S. Army combat war veteran Stewart Whitson, who is a Republican nominee for Congress. And again, he's facing off with, the same old, same old. It's just another Democrat who has Trump derangement syndrome. And his campaign seems to be, hey, Virginia, if you hate Trump, vote for me. That may work. I don't know, Stewart Whitson. I really don't. But I would love for you to sort of talk about the strategy beyond the ideas where we know you stand now, and I think it's incredibly impressive. But this is about a ground game. This is about getting out the vote, and this is going to be about money because he's got all the unions. He's got the teachers union. He's got all the usual suspects. What do you need, and how can you get this done?
Well, so number one, we have to create energy. And the responsibility for creating energy behind this campaign falls on one person's shoulders, and that's me. And so, but here's the good news. The campaign we're doing with the help of my wife and my kids, it is generating energy. When I won the primary, before I left the parking lot, I had the White House calling to express their excitement.
Oh, yeah.
I spoke to Governor Youngkin. I spoke to the lieutenant governor. And so here's the deal. We're not in this alone. We are a team on the Republican Party. And so all the resources, all that energy, we're going to all work together. And I'm going to win this seat, and I'm going to help them win their seats as well.
Well, that's encouraging, and I do like the energy. I mentioned to you the night I met you at the Candidates Forum, just a week ago, that you're a really impressive individual, and I'm excited for you and your family. And, well, let's get that sprint going to the finish line. You've got, 8 weeks?
That's right, Larry. And so we've only been campaigning for 2.5 weeks, and we have this much energy.
Wow.
So we're off. We've got, but it turns out when you're on the side of right and you speak where people who can't speak, you're their voice, that generates excitement, and that's what we're doing. Hey, but before I go, can I throw out a challenge to my opponent on your show?
Please. Absolutely.
Real quick. So Walkinshaw, if you're listening, I got a challenge for you. Let's debate, and let's do it this week. If you're truly ready to take on the responsibilities of this position and represent our district, then why wait? Don't hide. Let's do a debate. And so guess what? I'll make any time, any day work. I'll even let you pick a left-wing moderator who we know will throw you softball questions and try to trip me up, because guess what? This is not going to be a fair fight, but I don't need it to be a fair fight to beat you. And so you and I both know if the voters see us side by side and compare our positions on the issues they actually care about, the choice is going to be clear. You want to raise taxes, I want to lower them. You want to indoctrinate our children, I want to protect them. You want to waste taxpayer money on harmful political projects, I want to stop wasteful spending, and I want to put that money back in the pockets of the people of our district. So again, if any of Walkinshaw's handlers are listening to the interview, do me a huge favor. Go wake him up, gently, of course. Tell him Stu Whitson has challenged him to a debate, and you better start getting to work preparing him for it, because trust me, he's going to need it.
Let's go. Hey, let's clip that audio. Make sure WMAL News gets it. We'll push it out there as well, because let's face it. Hey, Mr. Walkinshaw says that this race is about protecting democracy. Well, nothing protects democracy better than having an open debate for the voters to see where both candidates stand and have them go one-on-one, mano-a-mano. If he really cares about democracy, then he will respect the democratic process and give the voters a clear choice with an open debate between you and Mr. Whitson. I love it. Thank you so much, Mr. Whitson. Good luck to you, and we'll be talking soon. Hello, Chris Plant. What do you want to talk about today, my friend?
I think I want to talk about Michelle Obama's. What did she say about the least important part of giving birth?
creating
This
life
whole
is
complicated reproductive system that does the least of what it does is produce life.
There it is.
I don't think she's got that right. I don't think that's accurate.
What else is it reproducing?
I
don't want to know.
What kind of analogies might be drawn on that one? That is, how do they feel about the death penalty for mass murderers? I'm just one curious thing. A lot going on, all kinds of news.